It's one of the earliest expressions of representative government and democratic principles in our history.
In witness whereof we have hereunto subscribed our names at Cape Cod the 11th of November, 1620. Stephen Hopkins. And the Mayflower, was it was a smooth crossing?
No.
What was it like?
The Mayflower was actually bound for Northern Virginia. It was cold and it was difficult, and they tried to head south around Cape Cod, and they encountered these terrible shoals, and the ship almost went down.
For Stephen, he was probably thinking, what a mistake I've made. I'm going to lose my family on this ship, and I must have been harrowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the master of the vessel said, you know what?
This is good.
We've got to turn around. We're going to anchor inside the harbor of Cape Cod, and we're going to have to look for a place because we will not make it through the winter if we do not get some kind of shelter going right now.
That makes sense.
Now, before they set foot ashore, something very extraordinary happened. We have a wonderful source that tells us a little bit about this part of Stephen Hopkins' story. You can take a look.
New England's memorial with special reference to the first colony thereof called New Plymouth.
Nathaniel Morton, in this volume, published a lot of content about the settlement of the early colony.
Yes. We solemnly and mutually, in the presence of God and one another, covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic. This is the saying we are our own people. We are starting our own
government.
Thank you. That's the word. Thank you, West Wing. 25 years. Yeah. You're welcome. So yes, they're forming their own government.
They were bound for Northern Virginia, but here they were outside the boundaries of their charter, and there was no legal authority for them to be there.
All right, so it's Bermuda all over again.
Exactly.
And by virtue hereof do enact, constitute, and frame such just and equal laws, ordinances, acts for the general good of the colony. It sort of reads like a preamble to the Constitution. What was this document called?
It is called now the Mayflower Compact.
It was signed on the Mayflower.
Aboard the Mayflower. This time, they did not set foot ashore until they could work this out.
Really?
No, they would not do it until they could work out this issue of how they were to be governed. It's one of the earliest expressions of representative government and democratic principles in our history.
In witness whereof we have hereunto subscribed our names at Cape Cod the 11th of November, 1620. Stephen Hopkins. So my 11th times great-grandfather, Stephen Hopkins, signed the Mayflower Compact.
He did.
Stephen Hopkins. He had to have spoken up and spoken his mind. And knowing what happened in Bermuda, it makes sense to me that here in Plymouth, he would be a voice.
He was an elected official here as well. He was chosen to be the governor's assistant and elected by the other men of the colony on multiple occasions, so for quite a number of years. He had a significant role in early Plymouth.
People trusted him and liked him, so it doesn't surprise me that he went into public service. It's it's wonderful. Do we know more about him?
Here we have something that gives us a different look at Stephen Hopkins.
This looks like chicken scratch. The last will and testament of Mr. Stephen Hopkins, 1644. So he was 62.
Yeah. After the distribution of goods in a will, it's important to know every single thing that was part of his estate. Members of the court, they would inventory every single thing he owned.
So we've got a great bull, a mare, a young bull, a yearling heifer without a tail, and 2 piggies. Poultry. So he had kind of a bit of a farm going on here. Rugs, blankets, scarf, flannel sheets, a hat.
Here at Pilgrim Hall Museum, we happen to have
That hat?
We have a hat that descended through your ancestor, Stephen Hopkins' daughter, Constance.
Really?
It is from the early 17th century. Would you like to see it?
Yes,
It's right
I
here
would.
in this room.
Yeah, it is? Okay, yes. Wow, that's a great looking hat. And I am a hat lady. That looks like Pharrell might have copied that hat. Looks like it would fit my head.
If it was a little less than 400 years old, we'd
Yeah.
let you try it
I
on.
would totally kill in that hat. It's beautiful.